I'm fine, thank you. Okay, let's see. Oh, lots of familiar students. Okay, so let me get your names down. We have Kat today, and we have Ezra. Okay, and we have Nuvan, and we have Feng Ming. Okay, so just 4? Yes. Okay. All right, excellent. So I think that you all know the debate topic, right?
Yes.
What is it, Feng Ming? What is our debate topic today?
Should cigarette be abandoned?
Exactly. Okay. Now let's divide this half and half. Kat, which side would you like to take?
I would like to take, yes, it should be banned.
Should be banned. Yes, should be banned. Okay.
Yes.
Who else? Feng Ming, you want it? Yes, also?
Yes, because I prepare everything.
Okay, so Feng Ming. Okay, that means that Ezra and Nuvan, no, shouldn't be banned. Okay.
I'm not choosing
That's a harder one, right?
harder one.
That is a little harder. Okay. But that's the art of debate. You have to be able to argue both sides, right? It's not about your personal opinion. You have to be able to argue both sides. So are you all prepared because you had this in advance? Or do you need a couple minutes to collect your thoughts?
I'm ready.
Are you all prepared? You're ready. Okay. Are you
And
ready,
I
Kat?
also don't know about the snow should be banned.
Are you ready, Kat?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And Nuvan, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. And Ezra, are you ready?
Maybe.
Are you ready? Maybe. Okay, well, I'll have you go last then. Okay. We're going to start with the affirmative side. Now, as we do this, we're going to ping pong back and forth. Affirmative, one reason, negative, one reason. But after the negative gives their reason, then I want them to respond with a counter argument for what the affirmative side said. And then another positive point, and respond to the argument that the negative side says. So once we get going, you'll be presenting a positive argument for your position, plus, in addition, the counter argument to what your opposing side said. So we'll get this organized. Okay, so we always start with the affirmative. So so Feng Ming, what's your first reason to support banning cigarettes?
Smoking make like lots of different disease, like cancer, heart disease, and like other disease.
Okay. And these are not just, what you could say is, these are not just unpleasant annoyances. It can mean death, right? So you want to even strengthen that by saying it's not just, having a little cold or something that's inconvenient that you get over, feeling not so well for a brief period of time. No, it can mean death. Do you have any statistics about lung cancer? Have there been any studies done? People who smoke versus people who don't smoke in lung cancer?
For people like who don't smoke, for people who smoke, they like die earlier 10 years than the people who don't smoke.
Okay. Okay, and where did that come from? Where did that research come from?
I don't really remember. I searched it in Safari.
Okay, so what you want to do when you find that, write down what the source is. Where did it come from? Did it come from a doctor, a university, a hospital? That will make your argument stronger, right? It gives it credibility. So, okay, now let's go to the negative, meaning no, cigarettes should not be banned. That's a harder position to take. You're right, that is much harder. Let's see here. Nuvan, could you find an argument for not banning cigarettes?
Yes, I think that tobacco smoke contains the main ingredient is nicotine, and it will help you to relax and unwind. Why I choose it to be relaxed and unwind? It is like while work you can't watch TV or listen to music because they last for a very long time. But smoking just needs a short time, so it is easy for you to relax when you feel stressful when you're working. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why people tend to smoke, because it relaxes them, right? Many people enjoy a cigarette after a meal. You know, it relaxes them. Okay, now we're going to go back to the affirmative side. And Kat, can you do two things? Present an argument to support banning cigarettes, and also respond to your opponent's argument that says nicotine can relax you and can reduce stress, which is, I guess, is a positive thing. You're assuming that reducing stress is positive. Okay, so two things.
The first thing that I think it should be banned is it's really addictive. And normally, like, sometimes people grow in a household that their like parents or grandparents smoke, so most people get like smoke at a really young age, what makes them harder to stop, so the addiction is more. And my response to the other one was it's actually not the only way to relax. There's many more ways to relax.
And such as, what would be some better ways to relax?
Watch a movie, talk to your parents, rest, maybe.
Do mindfulness.
What was that?
Do mindfulness.
Mindfulness? Practicing like meditation and mindfulness? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just kind of I just searched something, and I actually found out that if cigarettes are banned, most people would turn to drugs, which is even worse.
Okay, so that would actually be a point for your opposing side, right? That they don't ban them, because there could be something far worse, I guess. Okay, but it can be addictive. So just to clarify, Kat, did you say that even if you're just experiencing secondhand smoke, that you're not the smoker, but you breathe smoke from the cigarettes from your parents or your grandparents, that can also be addictive? The secondhand smoke?
No.
Okay.
But if you breathe it in, then you'll also get sick. But if you get influenced by your parents or your grandparents, and you smoke,
okay, just the behavior can be addictive because you're modeling, right? You're modeling. Okay, so like you're looking at your role models. Okay. Okay, I want you to, speaking of addictive, this is interesting, and there is research on this, that if a woman is pregnant and she smokes during her pregnancy, the children might have a tendency for addictive behavior. Not necessarily cigarette smoking, it could be anything. It could be drinking or gambling or shopaholic, or any, so you might want to look in that as evidence that the negative impact on an unborn child if the mother smokes during pregnancy. So do a little bit of work on that, and that when you mentioned addiction, you could take that a step further and develop that idea. Okay, good. Now let's go to the negative side. No, smoking should not be banned. Ezra, do you have a reason? Nothing? No? Nothing at all? Nuvan, do you have a reason? Another reason?
Yes.
What? Okay, go ahead.
For myself, I think that it will lower risk obesity. So that is the reason why women smoke. Yeah. Because like every time the smoke, people will decrease 3 kilograms than the person that don't smoke. So it will lower the risk of obesity.
Obesity. Okay, so you want to develop that. So why, so explain, why is it so bad to be obese, right? So that's a good point. There are many women in particular, maybe some men too, but women in particular smoke to maintain, you know, their weight so they don't become obese. But then you need to develop that. Why is obesity such a bad thing? Can you tell us the dangers of obesity? Because to justify that, you'd have to explain why obesity is worse than smoking. You know, if smoking can lead to lung cancer, why would that be, you say, like the lesser of two evils, right? They're neither one is good. It's not good to be obese. It's not, you know, and smoking can obviously have some serious health effects. So what's so bad about obesity?
Con cầm thôi, con cầm đi nha.
Nuvan, why is being obese so bad?
I just think that's because obesity, it will cause more illnesses than like smoking. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, there's so much background noise. Can you all mute your mics unless you speak, because otherwise it's very hard to hear. Can you all mute your microphone unless you're the speaker? Then we'll reduce the background noise. Feng Ming, can you turn off your mic until you speak? Because otherwise, thank you. Okay, can you say that once again, Nuvan?
I just think that obesity causes a lot of illnesses, and what is more that cigarettes, it also like helps you a lot. It not only the drawbacks, so I think obesity is worse than smoking.
Okay, what you need to do now to even strengthen is develop it. For example, you'll find that obesity leads to strokes, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, I mean, all kinds of horrible things, right? So what you need to do is find a few more, get more, your point is very, very good, but you need to explain why obesity is so bad and why it's worth smoking to avoid being obese. Okay, but excellent point. Okay, now we're going to bring it back to the positive team. Feng Ming, do you have another point to add about why it should be banned? We need to turn your mic on.
So there are more than 400,000 deaths each year in the United States of smoking.
Wow, that's really something. Okay, and completely linked to smoking. Do you have any statistics for Vietnam?
I can't find it.
Okay.
I didn't research about that.
Okay, but there probably would be a big number too, right? I suspect.
Yeah.
Probably
But
a big
if I
number.
remember, I research, like there's like a website is like fact of like we should ban cigarettes, and I use it on that website to know more.
Kat, okay, you're saying there should be a subject that is 50-50, yes and no. What do you mean by that, Kat? Can you explain that? What you mean by your message?
So this one is like, should smoking be banned? So it's much more easier to persuade yes than no. And
okay, yes, it is a little easier. However, your point is well taken. I would agree with you. However, sometimes you are given a side that you may not agree with, right? Your personal opinion. But to be a good debater, there are still arguments for. I'm going to throw it back. In fact, I'm going to give you one that's very powerful that just came out in the news the other day. But before I do that, let me ask Ezra, do you have any reasons that suggest that it should not be banned? Anything, Ezra? Okay, how about Nuvan? Any other reasons?
Yeah, Yes, I also think that it is sedative. It will help for people like old people. It will help them to like easy to sleep, and what is more, it also lower the like risk of death after some heart attacks. Yeah.
It reduces what?
It will lower risk of death after some heart
Oh,
attacks. Yeah.
okay, reduces. And where did you find that information?
I don't also remember too.
Okay, so what you all need to do, because you're getting much better at providing evidence and some statistics, but write down your source, right? Who said that? Which study? Where did it come from? That's going to make your argument stronger. Any other reasons, Nuvan? Can you think of anything else?
Yes, I
Okay.
also know that it will lower risk of knee replacement surgery. It's like no study revealed men who smoke had less risk of undergoing total joint replacement surgery than those that don't smoke.
Okay, an excellent point. But again, you go back and where was your source, right? Like, did that come from a major hospital or, okay, so we've got a lot of them. Now we're going to go back. Okay, so Kat Ang, what's another reason that it should be banned? Kat.
So, just putting it back to the subject that there's going to be, it's bad for lungs. So 84% of deaths because of lung cancer is because of smoking.
Okay. Wow, that is significant. And do you know where you got that information?
On Google.
Okay, so even though it's Google, which is great, it will come from somewhere, a website, and then name the study. Like, where does that statistic come from? Does it come from the American Medical Association or, you know, oncology? Oncology, that is cancer, you know, medicine that has to do with cancer. Oncologists are cancer specialists. So,
and wait, never mind.
Okay.
And also, like, the thing where smoke doesn't make you obese. Well, well, at least it's better to be fat than die.
Okay. That was just it was adorable the way you put it. It's better to be fat than to die. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll put that down. So obesity is certainly not good, but but cigarette smoking can lead to death. However, could obesity lead to death?
Yes.
Yes, obesity. Okay, Ezra, yes, counter argument. Can obesity lead to death?
Yes, they lead to some kind of really bad disease.
Okay, now I'm going to give you some really interesting information. So yes, for example, right now, the COVID-19, if you are obese, there is a much higher incidence of death if you get this virus, much higher. Moreover, this is a new study, I just read it, that there was some research done by University of America. Nicotine smokers don't suffer from the coronavirus as much as non-smokers. So apparently the nicotine, believe it or not, can be something beneficial if you get COVID-19, believe it or not. So I want you to research that.
I believe it.
Yeah, nicotine, smoke, nicotine, and COVID-19. Can you look that up and see what you get?
Yes, I can
Mm-hmm.
see that tobacco smoke will against COVID-19 because French scientists and doctors in Paris hospital, they have published some reports that people infected with coronavirus that don't smoke are higher than people are addicted to smoking infected with COVID-19, 80%. Yeah. So I think it is like it can against COVID-19. It can against like the death.
Okay, those are okay. So there you go. Now I'm going to turn it back to Fuang Ming and ask you two things. Do you have any more reasons smoking should be banned? And can you provide any counter arguments to what your opponents just expressed?
I think I only have more reasons.
Okay, all right, okay. And any counter arguments to what your opponent said about either obesity or relaxing or knee replacement surgery or COVID-19? Anything? Any counter arguments? Okay, all right. So how about you, Kat? Any more counter arguments or additional arguments? Okay. Okay, so let's turn it back to the negative side. Now, let's talk about the concept of personal freedoms. I'll give you an example. The mayor of New York, not the current mayor, but the previous mayor, Mayor Bloomberg, who just spent $500 million, if you can believe that, $500 million in advertising because he thought he wanted to be president, but it didn't go well. He said in New York, he wanted to ban big soft drinks, right? Like how soft drinks, these huge glasses of soft drink. And because he said it's not good, it's all this sugar, it's not good. But there was a huge revolt. You can't tell us what to do. If we want to drink 64 ounces of Coca-Cola, the government can't tell us. So it was considered an infringement, violation of their personal rights. So with that as background, what do you think about smoking? Does the government have the right to tell you you can't smoke? Or is it a personal decision? Is it a personal freedom?
I have a counter. Yeah.
Okay.
Like we can't ban cigarettes because it's like everything like guns and alcohol and cars that can kill us too. Why that we don't ban that thing? So we we don't ban the cars and ban the alcohol. We don't ban it. So why did we ban the cigarettes and don't let people to do it?
Excellent point. We don't live in a risk-free world, right? There are risks all around us. We can never make our world, our environment, 100% safe. So if someone wants to smoke, they are assuming those risks. I'm going to take the risk because whatever, I enjoy smoking. All right. Now, Kat or Fuang Ming, how would you respond to that?
But they need to care about their own health too.
Okay.
So,
okay. But can you force? Yes, Kat. Yeah. Go ahead, Kat.
Smoking is very a lot in a lot of places. So let's just take a thing like the coronavirus outbreak. You are I don't know, I'm not sure, but some places are banned from going outside or banned from going to random places because of the coronavirus. But it's for your own good because you'll be healthy and you won't have it. You're going to still be in your home, calm and safe. So it's also the same for smoking. So we ban smoking for people's own good. We don't hate them. We don't want them to be sad or anything. It's just to make them healthy.
Okay, so what you're saying is sometimes the government intervenes, and you used a very good analogy with COVID-19. Now, how about the argument that, okay, as Ezra said, it's your choice. You know the risks, but you love it so much, you're willing to say, I will die 10 years earlier because I enjoy my life more when I smoke. So be it. I'm not going to live to be 80. I'm happy to live to be 70 and smoke. However, with smoking, you can affect other people. So that's okay, fine, take that argument. But if you smoke, that secondhand smoke can be dangerous. And do you have a right to infringe on the personal freedoms of others? I mean, I'll give you an example. I live here in Lisbon, Portugal, Europe. Europeans like to smoke. They like to smoke. I think I noticed in Vietnam, there were quite a few men who smoked, but I didn't really see very many women who smoked. But here it's men and women. So I hate smoke. It makes me ill. So when I'm walking down the street, the person in front of me smoking, psh, psh, so with a little bit of wind, all that cigarette smoke comes right into my nose. It wafts right into my face. Is that right? So that person can smoke. That's the person's choice. They take the risk. But do they have a right to expose other people? What would you say about that, Kat or Feng Ming?
When I see people who smoke, I usually don't please cover my nose.
Okay.
And I just move far away, try my best to move far away.
Okay, but is that sometimes difficult?
Yeah, because I need air to breathe. So I have
okay.
to really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay,
also,
Kat.
Mm-hmm. So people are I want to smoke because I want to live a happy life. I do what makes me feel happy. But I'm like, okay, you do you. But while you're making the best out of your life, you're also ruining people's lives because also people can get affected.
Right, so, exactly. Well, and actually there might be two ways to look at that. You could be, let's say, exposing your dear family members to smoke, right? And they don't want to breathe that in. Moreover, let's say you're a mom or a dad and you say, well, I don't care if I, die 10 years earlier. Well, is that selfish? Maybe your children don't want to lose you. Your children want you to be around as long as possible, right? So you might have other people to think about, right? Not just your life, but I mean, would it be sad to lose a mom or a dad 10 years before they really need to, before they're, yeah? What do you think about that?
And also, a mom and a dad is their extreme, your best role models. You will look up to them, and when you're small, you're a child, so you don't know, so you will act and be like them. So if your mom is mad and shouts at you, you will also grow up and shout at people. So if your father smokes, you'll smoke when you grow up. Maybe you will, but maybe you won't, because your parents are just a very big role model, so you might do the same thing as they do.
Maybe. Now, I'm going to give you an example. My own mother was a smoker, and I hated it. And she would say to her children, do as I say, not as I do. So she would say to us, never smoke, never, never, never smoke. But she smoked. So her message was, do as I say what I'm saying, but don't model my behavior. So do you think, and actually none of us smoked because it was so awful. We don't want to smoke, right? So yeah, but you're right. It could serve, it's not a good role model. And if you take the responsibility of having children, then you're responsible for their lives too, right? Because they didn't ask to be brought into this world. You're responsible for bringing them into this world. So yeah. Feng Ming, what have you got to say about that? Anything you'd like to add? Okay. All right.
My family, we don't have anyone who smokes.
Okay. Well, what if you did? What would you do if you did?
I will try to stay away. Well, and I would try to convince him not to.
Okay. With this very argument. That's why you're debating. Now you'll be all prepared. If someone in your family starts to smoke, you'll have all the arguments to present, right? Okay. Kat, did you have something else to add? You say you do have a smoker in your family? Is that what you said, Kat? Oh, you don't have a smoker.
No, but it's like not important.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So Ezra, what have you got to say about all this? You've been a little quiet today. Tell us what your thoughts are. Either side. You had a tough position to take. So what are your arguments for banning? We'll let you speak about taking the other position as well. What would you say your arguments would be for banning? You're going to switch sides now. Go ahead, Ezra.
About the cancer, the truth is like doctor cannot say that the people that smoke is have a cancer or not. Yeah, and some other people don't smoke and they don't like breathe the smoke, and they just they have a cancer. Like some scientists have like scientists said that scientists said a high percentage of people that have cancer is the non-smoking people.
Okay, well, it is a good point. It is true that there are some smokers who live to be a ripe old age, right? There is probably, undoubtedly, a genetic factor, right? A genetic factor. And some people don't smoke. I mean, you hear about this, right? People who are healthy, they run, they exercise, they eat lots of vegetables, they do everything right, and they die at an early age. They get cancer. It's just genetic, right? It's a genetic predisposition. It's your genetic blueprint. And that's true. And some smokers puff away till they're 100 years old. That, I mean, there is. However, as Kat said, the statistics would indicate that it's certainly not a good thing. That it's, maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones, but statistically, it's probably not in your favor to be a smoker, right? Yeah, Kat.
Yeah. Also,
go ahead.
if you think logically, there's only a small chance that you will not get sick. And people that smoke will probably have some of them are will live longer, but imagine if they won't smoke, and then imagine if a smoker that is really old but didn't smoke, they would live much longer.
Right. So besides cancer, smoking can constrict your blood vessels, right? Constrict your blood vessels. So you might have, and I'm sure there's research on this. Can you look into this, Fuan Ming and Kat, the incidence of stroke and heart attack, right? Because if your blood vessels get constricted, right, they get very narrow, that means not as much blood can pass. You can get a heart attack, or you might not get enough blood to the brain and you can have a stroke. So can you look at some statistics on that too? Not just cancer. Here, let me write this in your chat box.
What is a stroke?
A stroke is when you don't get enough blood to your brain. A stroke. Huyen, do you know how to say that in Vietnamese? A stroke. Or a heart attack. Do you know what a heart attack is?
Yes.
Okay, you get a blockage, right? But stroke is, and then part of the brain doesn't get oxygen and you lose important functions. Many people who have a stroke, they lose
you just send to me, not send to everyone.
Oh, I just sent it to you. That's right, because you were that. Okay, all right. Let me send it to everyone. Thank you, Ezra. That's because you sent the last one. Okay, thank you for pointing that out to me. Stroke and or heart attack. Okay, there we go. Can you look up that and see what the connection is between smoking and strokes or heart attack? I believe there's a very strong correlation. So can you look that up? Either, oh, I can't see you anymore, Feng Ming and Kat. Can't see you, what happened? Oh, there you are, okay. Feng Ming, there you are. You disappeared for a while, your visuals. Okay, I mean your images, okay. Can you look up, can you quickly do that and see what is the correlation, the relationship, the association between stroke or heart attack and smoking? Because you made a very strong case about lung cancer, but there are other diseases that can lead to death as well, and there's a link to smoking.
I get now.
And Ezra and Yvonne, can you think of any ways to strengthen your arguments? Or address any of the arguments that Feng Ming and Kat made?
I made a new arguments about that. Like if we stop the people that smoke, that is too many of the governments that control, and we just let them. They wanted to be smoking, and no one lead them to smoking. They just choose smoking.
Mm-hmm. It's their choice, right? It's their choice. I mean, I don't know, what is the percentage of people who smoke in Vietnam? Do you know what it is, or in America? Is there that? Do you have that statistic of the number of smokers? It's come down in recent years. It's because of the health hazards. Not as many people smoke now, but I don't know about Vietnam. Is it decreasing, the number of smokers?
I think.
Yeah. They have an estimate of 50%.
In Vietnam?
50% of men and 5% of women.
No.
Wow, that's what I thought. I knew it was more men. 50% of men. My goodness, that's huge.
And there's my uncle, but my uncle is not smoking now.
Okay, he stopped smoking. Okay.
And also, like, I don't know, I find it really weird. Like, when you get like a smoked cigarette packet, there's a picture of someone very unhealthy person, and then there's like a label like smokers die young or something. And I don't know why someone like looks at that and is like, okay, I'm gonna buy that. Like it's like if you look at a chocolate bar and it says you will have diabetes, and then you get it and eat it.
You're right. I understand that. So let me ask the ladies, Kat and Feng Ming and Yvonne, do you think that the reason women in Vietnam smoke as much as men is because it gives you wrinkles and it makes you unattractive? It ages you. It gives you lots and lots of wrinkles when you smoke. Is that it? Why don't women smoke as much as men in Vietnam?
Because I think that it was premature. Children will be in illness when they are born out.
Okay, so during pregnancy, for sure. But for example, a woman could stop smoking for just the 9 months and then start again. You know, she could stop when she's pregnant, but then start. Why do you think overall, that's a very interesting statistic, that only 5% of women and 50% of men? How do you explain that big difference? Anyone? Do you think it has to do with Vietnamese women attach value to being beautiful, right? They want to be beautiful, and wrinkles are not necessarily beautiful.
Oh, I have some reason for that.
Okay, Ezra.
If I am a man, but I know just some. Like
Okay,
the woman like to some women like to be a man, yeah, like to be strong like a man, and they just do like a man do.
You mean they wait a second. Women, there are some women who want to be as strong as men or who don't want to be. I didn't quite understand.
Like some women want to be a man, not a woman, and they just start smoking like the man usually do.
But only 5%, right? Just those 5%. But how can you explain why most women do not smoke? How can you explain that?
Maybe it's because smoking is considered masculine.
Oh, in your culture, okay. It's just a cultural thing. It's like a societal norm. It's a cultural perception. Is that right? It's not considered feminine? Okay.
I don't know, because I don't know anything about smoke.
Well, there is, and actually you can look at this. There is research that shows that smoking ages you, right? It ages you, and you get...
Change your look.
It changes your looks. Yes, you get wrinkles much faster, much sooner. Wrinkles, you know wrinkles, what they are?
Oh, you look older, but you die younger.
Yeah.
I don't understand wrinkle. What is a wrinkle? I am a man, not
the weird lines on your face when you grow old.
Yeah, you get all these creases and lines on your face as you get older.
But sometimes the wrinkles are like, and your forehead, like they appear because you're angry, because you're like always...
Right.
I think it's disgusting when it's on a woman's face.
But you think it's okay on a man's face to have wrinkles? Is there a difference? It's okay for a man.
It's really disgusting too. I don't like the stripe on my face.
Well, so you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, look at your grandparents. Probably your grandparents have wrinkles, right? That's part of getting older. But do you want to have wrinkles when you're 20 or 30?
No, never.
So maybe do you think that's a reason why women in Vietnam don't smoke?
But then what if they're 50?
Because they want to be beautiful.
Well, do they smoke?
What if guys want to be handsome or something?
Well, I'm hearing a little bit of, this is very interesting. I mean, you ladies should go after Ezra. Ezra said it's okay for a man to have wrinkles, but it's ugly on a woman. Go after him. Attack that.
That's so unfair.
Yeah, like...
Okay, Feng Ming, what have you got to say to Ezra? It's okay for a man
I'm the only man in this class.
What did he say? I can't hear it.
He said he's the only man in the class. So we've got 3 ladies who should go after that comment. What else? It's unfair. Feng Ming, how are you going to respond to Ezra when he says something like that?
Well, what if like some women don't even care about their like outside? And,
okay, so
because maybe they have a beauty on the inside, though.
Very good point. Excellent.
And
Ezra
also,
says no. No. Oh, he's having a, okay, he's written to all of us. No. All right. So, Feng Ming, that was a very good point. It's inner beauty that should matter, right? Inner beauty is more important. Okay. What have you got to say to that, Ezra? Inner beauty is more important. Ezra? Inner, here, this is the idea. I'm going to type it here.
Inner beauty is better than outer beauty, but both of them is...
Where's my teammate?
What?
Inner beauty is more important. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, inner beauty lasts forever, right? Inner beauty lasts forever. That's for sure.
But if you're a spoiled
unless you die of smoke.
But beauty is not more important than your health. Because it's a really nature like Like we will have some wrinkle if we are old, and it's just a nature, and we can't get over that.
Right. What about, how about this? I'm going to be provocative. A person earns their wrinkles through their life experience, and it's like your life history. It tells your, like, if you have wrinkles that show that you smile, you've had a happy life. What if your wrinkles are sad wrinkles? Then it says maybe you haven't had a happy life. So the life that you've led shows up on your face, and what's wrong with that? You should be proud of the life that you've led, right? What about that story? What do you think about that?
I think women or men who have wrinkles when they are old, and that we just like that, and we just have a healthy life, not a beautiful, beauty life, beauty life.
Okay, so then are you saying that you really support banning cigarettes, Ezra? You would actually be in favor of banning cigarettes? What do you think? If you had a choice, would you ban cigarettes or not? Forget what you were assigned in class
I will
today.
ban it.
You would
But a lot
ban
of people
it.
will be very mad. I'm not going on the other side, but I'm just saying a lot of people will be mad.
50% of the men in Vietnam would not be happy,
they have
right?
No choice. That's for their
But I have another 50% of men in Vietnam.
Okay. What about nicotine patches? That's what people use to get rid of their addiction. Have you heard about nicotine patches?
Yes, I have heard of them.
So they don't smoke. What about that as a
What is
possibility?
nicotine?
Nicotine is what
I have heard of that, but I'm not. I don't understand the meaning of that.
Nicotine is what you get addicted to when you smoke. And so for people who are trying to stop, smoking, they put patches. And so it's absorbed into your bloodstream, the nicotine. But then you don't have to smoke. You still get nicotine, but you don't smoke, and it doesn't get into your lungs. So what about that? But some people just like I guess they just like holding a cigarette and inhaling. And so can you do a quick Google search on nicotine patches? What do you think about that? The government said, okay, all you smokers, you're going to have nicotine patches.
I have seen a neighbor next to my uncle's house that do nicotine to stop the smoking. Okay, I have seen in my real life.
Okay, and was it effective? Did it work?
I think it's not work.
It didn't work? Oh, he's still smoking again?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very harmful, and I don't like, because I don't like me to put a fire in my. Yeah, they put a fire and put a glass like a bowl and put it on.
You've just come up with another reason. Do you know how many dangerous fires have started because of cigarettes? One of the fires in California, a very devastating fire, was started by a homeless person who didn't put out the cigarette, and acres and acres of land were destroyed. That would be another argument.
So
it was awful, awful, terrible. In fact, even some fighters lost their lives. It was terrible just because of cigarette smoking. That's another reason. Okay. Can you think of any other reasons?
Maybe I don't like to have a circle that have like a circle that are red on on my back, because I think it really hurts.
Okay, I don't know that it hurts. Now, one student brought up lost income. Lost income. How would you address this? Lost income for the you know, economy, for the economy and, you know, and the government, because there are a lot of taxes on the sale of cigarettes. So you lose money, right? If you ban smoking, how would you address that issue? Lost income.
I have one last reason.
Okay.
So like to ban the cigarettes. Like if some people have asthma and the cigarette will make the asthma more worse.
It'll make it worse. Yes, yes. Very dangerous for asthma smokers. Asthma or emphysema, two upper respiratory illnesses. Yes, it would exacerbate it, make it much, much worse. But what do you think about this? On the positive, this is negative, right? This is but wait a minute. If we ban cigarettes, look at all the money the government makes from taxes on cigarettes. Look at all the profit that can be made from cigarettes. How would you address that? Kat?
They can recycle the cigarettes to make a new product, not to smoke, just for the I think it's very good for the trash to get out to make out of cigarettes.
How do you recycle cigarette when it is made of chemical?
It makes of chemical and it can, like, chemicals can do very harmful, and it can harm the trash, and we can make the trash away, not to like throw it out the ocean. So make the environment very good, well.
Kat, what is that? We can kill bugs. What explain that, Kat?
We can also kill ourselves.
I mean, I'm not sure about this, but maybe the chemicals can kill things.
But it will make the thing that we put the chemicals on more worse.
Will be like addicted. So if you throw a cigarette on something, then it will be addicted?
No, I'm not so sure about that. I don't think it works quite like that.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so you all were very engaged, very, very good debate today. So we have just a few minutes left, and so what I'd like to ask you is...
It's another question. What is the strongest point that you can say to...
What is the one we're going to do next class?
You know what? I don't know. But how about this one? I like this one, and we'll have the TA mention. How about the death penalty? Should there be the death penalty?
What is the
death penalty? Is it? Let's say someone murders someone, or they commit treason. They're a spy for your country. I mean, against your country. Terrible, terrible. Should they be put to death for their crime? Do you like that one?
Put them to jail because they will become ghosts.
So, would you like to debate that topic? Should we have the death penalty? Some countries have it, some countries don't. I think Vietnam, you have the death penalty, don't you?
Yes.
Murderer.
Okay. So, Ezra asked the question. So now we have to answer Ezra's question. Ezra asked, what's the strongest argument today? What was the strongest argument?
Today.
Yeah.
It's
today.
addictive. It's addictive.
It's addictive. Okay. It's addictive.
You cannot argue anything.
Yeah, no, it is. It is addictive. And I think there's a strong argument that, especially for pregnant women, right? Do you have a right to potentially affect your children in a negative way, if you smoke? Okay.
Penalty.
Penalty. Yeah, penalty, death penalty. Here, I'll type it. It's called the death penalty, meaning that's your penalty for committing a very serious crime. Nuvan, haven't heard from you, Nuvan. What do you think was the strongest argument today?
I just think that maybe like I want to say something about that opinion, you know, like addictive, and it is called bad awareness. It doesn't mean that cigarette is not really good. Yeah.
Wait, so you mean it doesn't mean it's addictive, but it doesn't mean it's it doesn't mean it's that bad for you? There are other things that are worse? Is that what you're saying? Actually, Kat, you mentioned alcohol at one point, right? Did I see that? You wrote that somewhere?
No, I asked asking if alcohol is better than cigarettes or not.
Well, that is subjective, right? Very subjective. Alcohol can lead to a lot of bad things too in excess.
No one wants to know the answer.
Well, it depends when you say alcohol. Alcohol in limited quantity can actually not be a bad thing. In fact, red wine can actually have some benefits, but not in excess, right? Only in moderation.
It can lead to a car crash.
If you drink in excess, yes. If you're over the limit, absolutely.
Car crash.
What do you think was the strongest? You have to answer your own question, Ezra. What was the strongest argument today? Any ideas?
No.
No. Okay. Well, let me ask you. Would you like to do this one for next time? The death penalty, for and against.
Anything.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll do this one. So that
50% yes and 50% no.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, if you look at the countries around the world, and even within the United States, some states have the death penalty and some states do not. It's very controversial.
I actually forgot what death penalty means.
There are strong arguments on both sides. The death penalty is when you've committed a very serious crime, and instead of being put into prison, you will be put to death. Well, not necessarily cut your head off, but what they do is they inject you maybe with a lethal drug to kill you. It's not painful, but they
maybe take a rope and then we put our head.
Well, they do that in some countries. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. A cigar a day keeps the doctor. Yeah, okay, interesting. That's true. An apple a day is highly recommended. That is so true. So eat your apples, right? Eat an apple a day. That's a very good piece of advice. So, any questions before we say Tambiet? Before we say,
oh, teacher, this means that the topic of next week is
the death penalty. Is it a good thing or a bad thing to have a death penalty?
Teacher,
can you write?
I wrote it here. Yes.
I think next topic. I think can you next time when you get topic that not another violence one.
You want a violent? Okay. You know what? We'll have the school give it to you. We'll have the school give you a topic. Okay.
I have one question.
Which one would you like to do, Feng Ming? You have a topic you'd like to do? What is it?
I just said I have a question.
Yes. What's your question?
How do we say out your name?
My name?
Yeah.
Miss Jacqueline. Miss Jacqueline.
Miss Jacqueline?
Jacqueline. 3 syllables. Jacqueline. Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Yes, that's it. Very good. Zatot. Okay.
Yay.
Okay. Gamun kak Gamun and Tambiet. Until next time.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Good job, all of you. Bye. Bye.
Next time, not violent again. Upenn, amen.